Hello everyone, my name is Abhishek and welcome back to my channel. Today is episode 9 of Ansible Zero to Hero series. This is a 14 episode series and till now we have completed 8 episodes in this series. Today is episode 9 where we will learn about Ansible Vault for security. So we will learn what exactly is Ansible Vault and what is its role in securing sensitive data. Then we will learn about encrypting and decrypting files using Ansible Vault. We will also learn about some best practices, how to manage the secrets, passwords, and sensitive data using Ansible. Security is one of the key factors these days. Anything that you do as a DevOps engineer, whether it's Ansible, Terraform, Kubernetes, CI/CD, you have to make sure that you do not compromise with the sensitive information. So that's why this video is very important. Please try to watch it till the end. If you are new to the channel, all the notes related to Ansible Zero to Hero or to that fact, any Zero to Hero playlist that we do on the channel will be shared through GitHub repositories. For example, if you want to refer to day 2, the content that I've explained in day 2 or the files, scripts, you can go to the day 2 folder and you will find everything within that folder. Now let's move to the whiteboard and start with what is Ansible Vault, why Ansible Vault is used, and how Ansible Vault is used. So if you understand these three things, then you can easily implement Vault in your existing Ansible playbooks. So what is Ansible Vault? As the name suggests, Ansible Vault is used to secure any kind of sensitive information within your Ansible playbooks or roles. It can be the passwords that you have, or it can be some API tokens that you have within your Ansible playbook, or some files or templates that you want to encrypt. Now the question is, why do you actually need this? Now you might be wondering, Abhishek, when I write an Ansible playbook, why should I secure the contents in my Ansible playbook? The answer is very simple. Assume you are a DevOps engineer and you are writing Ansible playbook. Let's say the Ansible playbook that you are writing is to create a EC2 instance. We learned in the previous classes how to write Ansible playbook for creating resources on AWS. You need to first install the AWS collection. Then you need to install the dependencies such as Boto3 to interact with the AWS APIs. Now assume you have already done this and you started writing the Ansible playbook. Within your Ansible playbook, you have to provide your AWS access key as well as AWS secret key. You have also provided this in your Ansible playbook, and when you executed this on your local machine, it works fine, obviously. Now, after a while, you want to share this playbook with other people in your organization because others also want to use a similar playbook. So you want to share them, let's assume through a Git repository or through Ansible Galaxy. But for easy understanding, let's say you want to upload this through the Git repository and share it with others in your organization. Now, when you upload this to Git, if you have any sort of sensitive information, then the sensitive information becomes public. Here, in this case, it's quite obvious, AWS access key and secret key as an example, but sometimes you might have sensitive information within the variables, you might have sensitive information within your files. So if you upload that to Git, so you have compromised with your sensitive information. So this is why you need to secure. And how do you secure? Right? This is the most important thing. Okay, as a DevOps engineer in whether it's Jenkins, whether it's Terraform, whether it's Kubernetes, you secure the resources. But in Ansible, how do you do that? Ansible provides a very simple and straightforward solution for Vault. You don't need to install anything new. You can directly use the command called Ansible Vault. It comes out of the box. When you install Ansible on your machine, you can use the Ansible Vault command. No additional installation is required. For example, I have Ansible installed on this machine. Now, if I just run Ansible -vault, you can see the command is available and I can use that. But again, the question is, how does this Ansible Vault command works and how it secures the files for you? It uses the same logic, just like a regular bank vault. For example, you have some physical assets like documents, or you have, let's say, money that you want to save. So you go to a bank and you use the vault service in the bank or a locker service in the bank. You provide the initial password, because to use the vault, first you need to set a password. So you provide an initial password, then the vault opens for you. You put all that sensitive information in it, like the documents, files, money, whatever it is. And then again, you log the vault using the same password. Next time when you want to access the vault, let's say to add new files to it, new documents to it, or to remove some of the things from it, what you will do is, again, you will provide the password. Only if you provide the right password, you will be able to access it. That's how Vault secures the assets for you. Now, Ansible also use the same logic, where if you want to secure a file. Now, what do I mean by secure a file? Basically, let's say if you want to encrypt a file, or you want to encrypt a variable. Let's take file which has all your passwords, for example. So if you want to encrypt this file, you go to the vault service in Ansible, the Ansible Vault command, and you provide a initial password for it. Only if you provide the password, Ansible Vault will be able to encrypt the files for you. Of course, the password can be of your choice. It can be a simple one, it can be a strong password. And now Vault returns you an encrypted file. Again, the logic is same. If you want to add contents to this file, let's say you want to add a new password, or let's say you want to remove one of the password, or you want to update an existing password. So you need to provide the Vault password to perform any action such as encrypt, decrypt, edit, delete, anything that you want to do. So the same logic, right? Just like your bank vault, Ansible Vault also works the same way. If you take the same example in the EC2 logic that we have done, even if you go to the day 6 folder, where I have written a playbook for EC2 instance creation, a single EC2 instance creation. So if you observe carefully here, in the place of AWS access key and in the place of AWS secret key, instead of providing the values directly, I am passing it through variables. And where did I upload these variables? I have uploaded these variables to a file and encrypted them using Ansible Vault. Let's try that again and let's see how to encrypt that. So first of all, I will put the file in a place where all of my hosts can use that file. So I will upload that file to groupvars. So let's go to the groupvars folder. And you all know, if you are following the previous lectures, so in groupvars, if you upload something, some variables to all folder, that means all your hosts can access it. So cd all. And now let's create a new file. Let me remove the existing one, which I used for previous lectures. AWS credentials.yaml. Now, if I create a file, for example, ignore we don't have vault. And if I create something called credentials.yaml, and if I just say EC2 access key, and if I add my access key, and then let's say if I say EC2 secret key and add my secret key. Why do you need this access key and secret key? Obviously, if Ansible wants to talk to the AWS, it talks through the API. We are using the Boto3 module, and in any of the case, you need to provide your access key and the secret key. Only then the authentication and authorization will be done. Okay, now EC2 access key, secret key, if I just save the file like this, and if I upload this to a Git repository, then the AWS credentials are compromised. So instead of doing this, what we are going to do is we will say Ansible Vault, create, let's provide the location of the file, Ansible Vault, create, and let's say the name of the file is AWS underscore credentials.yaml. Now, as soon as I click enter, as I explained, it should ask for the password. If I'm not providing the password, let's see. Exactly, it is asking for a new vault password. Abhishek, can I also pass this password from the command line? Definitely you can do that. This is one option of doing it. Other option is that you can also pass it using Ansible Vault, create AWS credentials.yaml, where I haven't uploaded any credentials yet. AWS credentials.yaml, and I can say -- vault password file and the location of the file. I already have a password file with name vault.pass, and now it opened the vault for me. So it opened a file for me. Ansible Vault opened a file for me. Now I can simply say EC2 underscore access key. Let's say I provide some dummy value, EC2 underscore secret key, and again I will provide a dummy value. Save the file using the WQ command. Now you might be thinking, Abhishek, still you have the credentials.yaml file. Let's try to cat the file. If you cat the credentials.yaml, sorry, AWS underscore credentials.yaml, you will see the encrypted content. That means without the password, without this particular password, nobody will know what is the decrypted content of this file. Nobody will know what is your EC2 access key and what is your EC2 secret key. So again, how to decrypt? You can use the Ansible Vault command. Ansible Vault decrypt AWS underscore credentials.yaml. Let's see what happens if I don't provide the password. See, it's asking for the vault password, and it is not saying new password because you have already created the file. So you already use the vault. So you have to provide an existing password. That's why it is asking for vault password, not the new vault password. So let's pass the same thing, vault password file. It's in this location for me. You can put it in any location. I'll also show how to create a vault password. Don't worry. See, decryption is successful. Now let's cat the file. See, I can see the content. I can also perform the edit action. Okay, if you try to encrypt this one more time, let's do it. Ansible Vault create AWS underscore credentials.yaml. I need to encrypt it. That's why I'm using the create command. And this time let's create a password file here itself so that people who don't know how to create a password file. One is you can directly use the password from the command line itself. But what I would recommend is use at least some strong password. So in the previous class, I have explained how you can create a random password which is strong enough. So you can use the OpenSSL random command and you can generate a random string and you can put that as a password. It's a base64 encoded. I cannot say it as an encrypted password. It's an encoded password which comes with at least some security so that you don't keep your password like Abhishek123 or something like that. So let's create something like vault.pass. If you cat the vault.pass, you will see that this is your password. It's an encoded password and sensitive enough. Again, I'm saying you can also keep your password like Abhishek123 or anything. Going back, Ansible Vault, I want to show how to edit the sensitive information which is already in the vault. So first, let's encrypt the existing AWS credentials file. Ansible Vault, create AWS_credentials.yaml, which is our file, -- vault password file. Now I have the vault.pass in the same location. Yeah, because we already have this file called AWS credentials.yaml. It is not encrypted, but you already have the file, right? So what you need to do is either delete this file. Okay, I'll delete this file for now. And let's run this command again. AWS credentials.yaml. Now let's upload the content back. EC2 underscore access underscore key. Now, why did I enter EC2 underscore access dot key and not anything else? Because in the Ansible playbook, if you go to the Ansible playbook, this is the name of the variable that I'm using, right? EC2 underscore access underscore key. That's why I'm providing the same thing here. If you provide something else here in the key value pair, you also have to make sure the key is updated correctly. Because whatever you pass here, the EC2 access key will be retrieved from the Ansible Vault and it is passed to the AWS access key field. Similarly, the secret key. Okay, EC2 underscore, let's put something, EC2 underscore secret underscore key. Again, let's put some value into this. Okay, we have created, you can verify AWS underscore credential. It's an encrypted one. Now I want to add one more password along with my AWS access key secret key. Let's say I want to add some API token to it. How will I do that? Exactly the same command, but just replace the create with edit. Edit, and you will have access to the vault. Now you can just say API underscore token and add a new password to it. Of course, this content will also be secure, right? Even the new one that you have added, if you try to open the credentials, you will not be able to see that. Everything will be encrypted. Just you have edited the content that is already in the vault, so it will still remain the secure. Perfect. Now, okay, you are able to create an encrypted content, encrypted file. You're able to decrypt. What else you can do? If you just run Ansible Vault, you will see the different options that it supports. We have seen create, we have seen decrypt, we have seen edit. Similarly, you can also do only view. Now, what is view? You don't want to update, you don't want to delete, you don't want to add anything new, but you just want to see the content. Okay, for that, again, replace the edit. I don't want to see the encrypted credentials.yaml file, but I just want to use the view command. So it prints the secure information for you on the terminal. This is about view. What is the encrypt command? In the previous example, I already had AWS credentials.yaml file, right? Let's say I had something like vim AWS credentials abc, just another file .yaml, where let's say I have is you have joined a project where within the project they already have this file called access key, and they have updated the content to it. Now you cannot use Ansible Vault create command, right? Because the file is already here. If you use create, it will ask you to provide a new file. In such cases, you can simply run the command Ansible Vault encrypt, because the file is already there. Encrypt AWS credentials abc.yaml, and definitely it will ask you for the password. It works the same way, but in the create command, you are creating the file. If you are using the encrypt, you are encrypting the existing file. That's the only thing. So Ansible Vault, we learned what is a create, what is decrypt, edit, view, encrypt, encrypt string, which is another one. So let's say you have a variable. Okay, again, you have an existing variable in your Ansible playbook. You don't want to encrypt the entire file. You just want to encrypt a particular string. So you can use this command Ansible Vault encrypt string foobar. If foobar is name of your string, provide the vault password file, and you got the encrypted value of foobar. Same logic. Who can decrypt it? Whoever has this vault.pass, they can decrypt it. Now in this entire thing, you must have understood the most important one is your password. Just like if you have a vault in your bank, okay, and you have all the important information in your bank vault. You have a lot of money, you have documents, and you share that password with someone else. What happens? All the information that you have in your bank will be used by someone else. So, there is no point of using a vault itself. In the same way, even in Ansible Vault, the most important thing is password. So how do you deal with the passwords in Ansible Vault? You definitely have to use a strong password. This is the first thing. That's why instead of using password like Abhishek, what I've done is I have used OpenSSL command to generate a random base64 encoded string, and I've used it as a password. So this is first best practice, use a strong password. Second is you can store these things, like here the vault.pass I have on my machine, so I'm using it, but you cannot share this file with everyone. This is on your local machine. So what you need to do is you need to upload these password files to secret management services like AWS Systems Parameter Store or AWS Secrets Manager. If you are in the AWS ecosystem, if you're in Azure, you can use the Azure Vault service or any equivalent service. Basically, store the vault.pass file or the file which has your vault password in secret management solutions so that you don't compromise with your password. If you just put that vault.pass in any random machine which everyone has access to, you just upload it to a virtual machine and developers also has access to that virtual machine, then there is no point of using the Ansible Vault itself. So this is some recommendations where how to use strong passwords and how to secure it. Another important thing about passwords is that you might have a question that, Abhishek, if I have 10 Ansible playbooks and 10 Ansible roles, should I use the same password? Should I use the same password for all of my Ansible playbooks? Now it's a very tricky thing, right? If you use the same password for all the Ansible playbooks, if X person comes to know about this password, then the X person can manipulate with all the 10 Ansible playbooks. Or if you're using one password for Ansible playbook, that is, if you have 10 Ansible playbooks, if you are using 10 different passwords, tomorrow you might have 100 Ansible playbooks. Then this might become 1000 Ansible playbooks. I'm just giving an example. So it is again not good to have unique password for each Ansible playbook. At the same time, it is also not good to have one common password. So the recommendation is that what you can do within your organization, you will definitely have different environments like UT, which is development environment. You will have staging, you will have production. So in the interviews or while you are preparing this vault setup in your organization, you can follow a practice where for the dev environment, you can have one Ansible vault password. For the staging environment, you can have a different one. And for the production one, you can have a different one. Usually production, very less people will have access to it. So in the AWS Secrets Manager, you can store your Ansible prod related ones. I mean the password related to your Ansible prod servers. And using IAM, you can restrict access only to few people. That's how you can secure the password of Ansible Vault. Even if your dev environment one, because dev environment, you might grant access to everyone. You might say that this is my vault password. Even if it gets compromised, you can still protect your prod servers. Using Ansible, if you're configuring your prod servers, you can still secure the password of your Ansible Vault. So these are some of the best practices related to Ansible Vault password. And the assignment is that you can go back and practice the EC2 instance creation or any AWS resource creation. The logic will be the same. You can go to the day 6 folder or even the day 7 folder. I have provided the prerequisites, how to set up connection with AWS. First thing, install the Boto3 module. It's a prerequisite. Then install the AWS collection, generate a vault password, and then you can start creating encrypted files where you have saved your AWS credentials. This is a sample Ansible playbook, which is used for creating AWS EC2 instance. And the secure information that you have created, I am passing it using the Jinja 2 templating style. So try this so that you are confident about the Ansible Vault. I hope you found the lecture useful. Thank you so much for watching it. See you all in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.